All right, so I'm finally getting this going. I've been wanting to make like a video game channel where I just like talk about games, play games, kind of like a podcast almost, but with a video aspect for a long time. But I finally bit the bullet. I'm gonna do it. We're gonna get this started. The first game that I'm going to start out with today is Apex Legends. So Apex Legends has been kind of the talk of the town recently on the internet. It's been really taking over the gaming world by storm. It's considered to be taking over Fortnite, one of the biggest games in the world right now. But I'm going to talk a little bit about that later. I think I'm going to go over like why I don't think Fortnite's ever going to go away. Apex is definitely a great game. And I'm going to talk about what I like about it, what I guess dislike about it too, but we're going to hop right into a game of Apex. I'm really bad at talking and playing at the same time, but we'll see how I manage with this. So to start out, if you don't know anything about Apex Legends, it's a character-based battle royale with 8 legends to choose from, all with their own special abilities, and basically, the classic battle royale system that's really popular right now. You drop in to a map and you start out with nothing, and from once you hit the ground, you start picking up loot, and then once you have loot, you can start playing the game. You want to be the last squad alive. So there are 20 squads of 3, so 60 people in total. So there's a circle that pushes in. If you're stuck in that circle, you either lose health or you die. So it pushes everyone to a central location to expedite that final process of making sure there's one squad left alive. So this game is made by Respawn Entertainment. Respawn is the same company that made the Titanfall series. So fun fact about the Titanfall series, I've never actually played it, but I have bought it. So my freshman year of college, I brought my Xbox 360 with me. I went downtown to this local game shop and I was like, cool, I'm gonna buy a new game for this. I haven't bought anything for Xbox 360 in a while. So I go into the game store blind, didn't really know what I was gonna get. Figured I'd just walk in with maybe 20 bucks and then head out with whatever game I thought was interesting. So I walk in and Titanfall catches my eye. I was like, oh cool, this is a mech-based shooter. I think mechs are really cool, so let's do it, let's buy this. And then as I'm leaving the store, I look on the back of the box and it says multiplayer only and Xbox Live required. And I was like, oh shoot, I don't have Xbox Live, can I not play this game? So it turns out Titanfall 1 you can't without Xbox Live, it's online only. I should have researched before I went to the store. I go back to the store and I was like, hey, I realized I don't have Xbox Live, I can't play this game, can I return it? So they were like, yeah, sure, you can return it, but we're gonna have to give you store credit. I was like, all right, that's fine, I'll buy something else. I think I got Darksiders 2, I think. That was probably about 15 bucks at the time or something, or 10 bucks. It was really cheap at the store. I was like, okay, I have this money, this whatever, $5 left, and I'll probably come back and use it at another point. So freshman year gets really busy and I just don't have enough time to go back and get a new game. I pretty much played the same old games throughout the majority of that semester. The next semester when I come back from winter break, I find out that this game store shut down. Still to this day, I have that $5 card that they gave me for store credit, and somewhere that I can never use it, but you win some and you lose some. But that's my Titanfall story, and I still to this day haven't played it, but hopefully someday I can. Some things I like about this game. The first things first, dropping into a game. I think this is the really cool part about this is that there's one jump master, so one person takes control of where the team lands, and you can drop solo if you want to, and you can eventually veer off at the end of the trail to make sure you get your own loot, but ultimately one person's in control so that everyone ends up in the same location on the team, which is great because, if you end up in a completely different location than your team, you may not be out of luck, but it's a lot harder to either catch up with them again or stay alive when you don't have teammates to back you up. Currently, I think Apex is doing a really good job at honing in on the battle royale system because they're only offering squad mode, so the squads of 3 mode. They're working really hard at getting one thing right, and I think they've done a great job, especially upon release with this. I'm sure they've looked at feedback from games like Fortnite or PUBG, any kind of those battle royale games that are either in early access or tend to be pretty glitchy. So they're doing some good fan service there by making sure they got everything right off the bat. The other huge thing that this game has gotten right that a lot of other battle royales in the future should kind of model themselves after is the ping system. especially since this is squads. It's really important to communicate with your other team members, or else, quite frankly, like, you're gonna die. Not being able to talk to your team can be pretty detrimental to how well you do. So the way this ping system works is that if you spot something on the map and you want one of your teammates to know that it's there, you can say, all right, here's a shotgun, and you ping that shotgun. You press R1 on the PlayStation. You press one button to ping a location of an item. You can ping somewhere that you want your team to go. If you want to go across the map, you just ping in the direction of that, or you ping on the map, and then your teammates will know where to go. You can also ping enemies. If you double tap this button, it'll tell people where enemies are, and that's super effective because, especially in a game, if you can't talk to your teammates and there's enemies coming, like, how do you let them know? You really can't. So that can be frustrating at times, but my favorite thing about pinging is being able to call dibs. So if one of your teammates says, here's a body shield level 2, and you really need that, you have the ability to look at where they pinged it, and then you press the ping button, and then you call dibs on it so your teammates know, hey, that's mine, I'm going to grab it. This system has made a world of a difference, especially because I personally don't like to talk on mic if I'm not playing with my friends. If it's random people, I don't like to be on the mic. So the fact that I don't have to talk with these people, but I can still communicate, has led to a lot more, victories and a lot better gameplay. For the most part in this game, I've been playing Wraith as my main. Her skill set's kind of my favorite just because it feels like a ninja class almost. She can turn invisible and then dash away. Also, she can set up portals. That's like her special ability, and you can go between those portals and kind of flank enemies, get around them, make really cool plays out of those. Another cool one is Pathfinder. Pathfinder is like this robot that can deploy zip lines and has a grappling hook. A lot of my friends play Pathfinder. They really like his character. So it allows for a lot of customization and gives you the ability to kind of play how you want, which is something I really appreciate, and something that Overwatch has done really well as well as a character-based shooter. So yeah, they took that formula and they ran with it. I hope they add more characters in the future. I think they will. There's only 8 right now. I think there's a lot of room for new players or new legends to come through and make this game a lot cooler. Another thing about this game is that you feel just so agile when you're running around. The sliding feature is honestly one of the coolest. It makes you feel so fast if you're going down a mountain and you're just sliding through, trying to get away from the storm or trying to escape enemies. It's a great evasive feature. And even that, you can climb obstacles. So say you run up to the side of the building, you hit the jump button and you hold it, and then you can climb all the way up that, for the most part, all the way up it. But the climbing ability allows for a lot of cool plays, and it makes getting high ground a lot easier, especially with the fact that you can't build in this game like you can in Fortnite to get some high ground. So you make your high ground by moving around, which I think is really cool. Another thing that's really great about this game, especially since I kind of suck at it, is the fact that you can be revived once you're down. So it is a battle royale game after all, but you can take a banner from one of the death crates and then bring it to a revival station. And from that revival station, you can bring your teammate back. When your teammate comes back, they don't have any loot that they used to have. They have to start over fresh, but I think that's a pretty fair system. If you die and it's a cheap death or something, you don't have to sit there and watch your friends play. They made it really fair too. There's a time limit on it, and if you don't get it back within the time, then too bad, you can't come back. But for the most part, your teammates tend to revive you and tend to have enough time, so that's made it really fun and pretty fair too. The last thing I really like about Apex, which I'm going to talk about, is the fact that guns just feel pretty fair in this game. I think the fact that in order to make them better, they're not tiered in this game. So every gun starts out basic, and the only way to make the guns better is by finding attachments throughout the map that you loot. It puts everyone in an even more level playing field at the beginning of the game. Now there are gold guns and legendary guns when you start, but those tend to be just equipped with all the attachments that they come with. So the only way to get an official legendary gun is through an airdrop, which they also make really fair because once you get that weapon's ammo, that's what you have. You can't get any more legendary ammo after that. So you don't have people running around the map just obliterating people with a good weapon that they do have. And especially when you start the game, it's not like Fortnite where you start the game and if one of your enemies just has a better gun than you, happens to grab a gold scar, and you have a gray pistol, you're not completely screwed. The determinant of whether you're screwed or not is based on how good of a player you are and how well you can hit your shots in this game. With the good has to come some bad. There are some things I don't necessarily dislike about Apex, but I think it's just things that will change in the future and are just, I suppose, inconvenient for me right now. I haven't really played it enough to be too critical of it. I'm just kind of taking it for what it's worth, and quite honestly, that's made the game a lot more enjoyable. So to start out, I think the biggest thing is there's a decent learning curve for this game. The mechanics aren't something I'm necessarily used to. I'm sure if you've played Titanfall, I think it's the same controller layout and like the same, gameplay scheme, but unfortunately I haven't. So one thing that's kind of irked me is that you don't have the ability to customize your controller as much as you want. They do have pre-made layouts, but out of all of those, I decided to just keep the default because that's what I started to get used to. But there are some things that I'd rather change about my controller layout. But maybe in the future, that's something that they'll add. You'll be able to customize your controller layout. Another thing is too, and I guess we got spoiled with the fact that Fortnite ultimately did this, but crossplay. A lot of my friends are Xbox users, and I am on the PS4. Kind of bums me out when I can't play with them. The fact that we can't play Apex together is kind of frustrating since there's no crossplay, but hopefully, again, that's something that'll happen in the future, especially since Fortnite did it. I wouldn't say it's a downfall. I think it's just something that we can expect later on. I would say it's a lot more fun to have a squad of people that you know than you don't know. It's a lot easier to communicate when you know them and you've been communicating, typically on a daily basis. Another thing is, and I guess this kind of goes along with the learning curve point, but the guns all feel or look pretty similar and feel pretty similar. I'm starting to learn which guns I like and which guns I don't like. When I was starting out, it was really difficult to tell what guns I should be using and what guns do what. When they're on the ground, there's no color coding system like there is in Fortnite, which I like a lot better. Not necessarily the fact that they're tiered, but the fact that I can look at a gun and say, oh, okay, like, I know this is a blue AR, this is going to do X amount of damage, this is going to do this. I think that's just one thing that I'm starting to get used to, but it is getting a lot better, and I am understanding it more. So a learning curve issue. And a lot of these things, again, like I said, like I'm trying not to be too critical because I don't think I've played it enough to be critical, and I also just kind of really like the game and don't have many complaints about it in the first place. The last thing that I guess this is the one thing that I don't really care for, is it's almost like a loot crate system. When you get to a certain level, you get loot crate of sorts where you click on it and it'll give you skins, coins, or crafting materials, I think they call it, and all that kind of stuff. It's all aesthetic, so none of it gives you a leg up. I love the fact that this is not a pay-to-play game. I'm glad that Battle Royales have been taking that on as of recent. Yeah, I think the only reason I don't really care for it is because, especially in Fortnite, I look forward to knowing what I'm gonna get and working towards leveling up so that I can get a cool skin or a cool weapon skin. It makes it a lot more gratifying when I work for something rather than when it's random and I don't know what I'm gonna get after each time I level up. So just a little thing, but I know they're probably not gonna change it, so it doesn't really ultimately matter. But yeah, overall those are things I guess I don't really care for. They're not that major, of course, so overall just a fun game. The last thing I'm going to talk about is Apex versus Fortnite. So this is kind of the big debate on the internet right now. Ultimately, I don't think Fortnite is going to fall under Apex. Sure, Apex may be climbing and getting a lot of players right now, but Fortnite is really its own game. It's very unique in its own sense. And I think that's what's captured a lot of people and a lot of players. It knows its audience too. Epic Games always does a really good job at making sure that they're listening to their players and trying to tailor the experience to what they like and dislike. The building mechanic of Fortnite is what makes it Fortnite. That's what a lot of people are drawn to, what a lot of people are have the most fun with. It has gotten like a little crazy with the amount people know how to build, especially in season 2 when I kind of hopped on. No one knew how to build, and it was solely based on gunfights. But then building became like so crazy, and everyone's building these giant, towers over you, and sometimes you just don't have a chance. But I think the building system is, it's fun and it's unique, something that a lot of games can't say that they have. So if you're looking for that kind of thing, Fortnite's the only thing that has it right now. I think that the skin system is really cool. I love a lot of the Fortnite skins. If I'm playing a free game, I typically don't want to pay for anything in it. So I ultimately bought the Fortnite Battle Pass just because I thought the skins were so cool. And now they have gun skins, now they have all that kind of stuff. So, you know, that tempted me to spend $10 and buy the Battle Pass. But it's really worth it. I like doing the challenges, and I like the fact that I can get all of these skins by working for them. So Fortnite has a really distinct art style. It's pretty cartoony. Realistically, they did a great job at that for building a fan base. Kids who, quite honestly, is a majority of their fan base, are really drawn to that look and that style. So it captured a huge audience, and personally, I love the art style of it. I think it looks really great. It's just really fun, and they've crafted such an interesting world with the lore and everything. I think they do a good job at making that a part of the season updates. I do like that, and it kind of covers up the fact that it's still beta pretty well. So yeah, basically, long story short, Fortnite is still unique. It still has its character to it, and it's not going anywhere. Apex is its own thing. You know, it's a lot of fun, but ultimately at the end of the day, each game is a free battle royale, and it holds its own. So yeah, that's my take on Apex Legends. Thanks for watching this. I'm excited to keep doing these. I hope this video made sense. I'm trying really hard to, you know, talk and play at the same time, so that I'm getting some real experience with this. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll be sure to update more in the future. See ya.